Good morning, chat children. Early Sunday morning. We get up early here for you. Show you the things that you must know for the week to come, and your lifetimes for that matter. A lesson learned is going to be learned in two parts, like we've been telling you, with a representative from the Southeastern Michigan Militia. This is the Mad Hatter.
Hello.
Mad Hatter has come to us today, and he has brought some insight. He's brought some info. He's brought some cool props over there. We're going to get to that in a little later. But what we want to talk to you about today is the Second Amendment. Of course, we're going to delve into that. But your particular militia, why don't you tell us something about that?
The Southeast Michigan Volunteer Militia is centered around the Detroit metro area. We sprouted from the remains of the original Michigan Militia Corps Wolverines that was founded by Norm Olson in the mid-90s after Waco and Ruby Ridge. We are a public militia. We are probably the most public militia, with everything we do chronicled on our website, in our YouTube videos, and other places on the net.
This is no underground thing. It's right out in there in your face.
You've got to be out. If you don't let everybody know what you're doing, when the shit hits the fan, you're not going to get the public support.
Boom. It's called not paranoia, but preparedness.
And when you're doing nothing illegal, when you are exercising your rights, you've got no reason to hide it.
Correct. Now, this is the militias, like I've said before on this program, the last line of defense between you and your government. You got three lines of defense. Vote, which you do really poorly, obviously. Protest, which you don't do enough, obviously, or there would be more groups such as this. And then you got your militia. That's it. We do things here in threes, even in Michigan. The Second Amendment covers your right to be in a well-regulated militia. Not well-regulated by your government like they do the FDA and crap like that. I mean, regulated by the people. If the people don't like you, they'll put you down with a larger group. That's the way it works.
That's the important thing. And if we ever get to the point where we have to go active, something is really fucked up.
Exactly. You are there as a last means to an end. Now, it says in the Second Amendment, or in the Constitution, that your militia, which is you, any gun-bearing citizen, and you should all bear arms unless you are federally prohibited, and then you should bear them under your bed. You are bound by duty of the Constitution to stand up against any corrupt government and overthrow it and put it down.
In addition to the corrupt government, the Second Amendment is also meant for the citizenry to augment the military in times of crisis, disaster, invasion. Today is a time where we face as many threats from outside as we do internal. I don't think we've ever hit that balance before in our history.
And so what's to stop them? Not saying that it isn't all real, but they're fear-mongering that they shove into society just to put down groups like this that want to be able to defend their own peninsula. You know, it's like we are really a federalist government. That's what we're supposed to be, each state for themselves, in a union together. No blanket federalistic laws mandating how you should defend your property. So I mean, what's to stop them from instating martial law under fear-mongering tactics?
The fear that everybody in their home could potentially have one of these. When you're facing this, you're less likely to just push forth and stomp on the person on the other side of that door. When you're facing one of these, you're more likely to question the wisdom and the authenticity of the order you've been given.
There you go. Remember when we had Sarge on, no, I was telling you about Sarge. We didn't have him on the program, but this guy said, you know, he's an old Marine dude, and he even went so far as to say, your federal government's military is not going to stand up against its citizenry. There's too freaking many of us, and they will not be killed by and killing their own. There's just no way.
That's why the Second Amendment was put in place. That's why our government was set up the way it was. When we broke away from England, we had just left a tyrannical government that stomped on the will of the people for their own greed, their own wanting to take our resources and our money.
What does that sound like to you?
So our founding fathers, just about what's going on today.
Exactly what's going on
today. Our founding fathers put this framework in place so that we would have a means of resisting that tyranny, which whenever you impart power in a group of people, their natural instinct is to acquire more power. A constitutionally limited federal government slowly, over the last 200-some years, has taken more and more power, whereas originally everything was left in the hands of the states, except for a few specific requirements. The government has increased that to the point now where federal government supersedes state and local governments.
Yeah, when their real job is to clear the streets, fix the roads, and get the fuck out of my way. That's the way I see it. Federalistic society is the way it started. It's slowly, somehow, gotten to a fascist monarchy. And that's what the militia's here for. What about independence? We just had an election. How does most people that you know and deal with in the militias feel about the two-party government that we've been handed that are really a one-party government? Do you vote independent?
I vote issue by issue, person by person. I don't follow a party line vote. I don't follow just what's on the surface.
That sounds independent.
We are facing an elected official this time around that is far more socialist than any president we've had in the past. His first sign of weakness was immediately after his election, when the media started to call into question items on his agenda for his transition government. And as a response, that transition was pulled off the web page. Is he going to be somebody that buckles when he's faced with pressure? Or is he going to hide what he does and push it through?
Well, I'll tell you, as I listen to the antisocial degenerates, some radical son of a bitches myself, I'm going to say it's going to be part 2 coming at you next week, or possibly this week, depending on how we edit this thing. But before we go for right now, the last thing I want to say is, what do you feel about taxes? Should we be paying taxes to our federal government?
Taxes are meant to cover certain specific items. The income tax was put in place to pay for a war that's been over for 60 years.
And that's where we're going to pick it up, on taxes. This is the Mad Hatter. More from the Mad Hatter, from another undisclosed location. Undisclosed location.
MichiganMilitia.com.
MichiganMilitia.com. SoutheastMichiganMilitia.com. More from the Mad Hatter in a minute.